Vic, I guess we should start with the latest publication of an Ofsted report.
Yep.
Happy?
Satisfied, I think is the answer. It's difficult because this is my second Ofsted inspection as a head, so I was head and we had an Ofsted inspection within the first year of me being head, which is quite normal. And we probably overachieved in 2008. You know, when schools have to do something called a self-evaluation form, which is, sort of covers everything about the school, about the Ofsted framework. And when they came in 2008, I thought we were a good school with some outstanding bits. They thought we were an outstanding school with some good bits, you know. So that was lovely and a really nice thing to have. But probably for those 2 days, you know, that was where we were. But the reality of Ofsted coming in for 2 days and the reality of a whole year is very different. So when they came in, it's interesting. In 2008, our results have gone up every year since 2008. They're higher where they were, attendance is higher, we met all those targets. So you would imagine that means if you're better than you were when you were deemed outstanding before, you get outstanding again. And that doesn't how it works. The goalposts have shifted hugely. So pleased that we got goods, which basically means they give us 5 years peace, which means we can concentrate on doing what's necessary for the kids and rather than what's necessary for Ofsted to tick the boxes. So satisfied, always something to improve on, you know. And I think the bit that probably frustrated me the most is the staff and the students worked their socks off for those 2 days. They were unbelievable. You know, 90% of lessons were good or outstanding. Well over a third were outstanding. That's good stuff. You know, to be at that level day in day out is takes a lot of work. So I was a little disappointed for the staff that the teacher didn't get a 1. It's great that leadership and management did, but you know, I did try and argue that down. They thought I was a lunatic because I didn't consider that we should have got a 1 for leadership and management. Leadership and management isn't about me. However, people perceive it to being about the head, and actually it's about middle leadership, it's about heads of department. But ultimately, how can leadership be better than the kids' results? How can leadership be better than teaching? You know, so when I tried to argue it down, they thought I was a lunatic, if I'm honest. It's uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable with that. Okay, it's lovely that they recognise, you know, the leadership in the school and how much we're trying to engage the community and, you know, all the other things we're trying to do. But actually, it was an uncomfortable feeling, and delivering that message to staff, which you could feel self-serving, you know, and that's the last thing in the world I am, was difficult. So satisfied with Ofsted. It's good that they leave us alone in peace now. It's amazing that the lead inspector who has told me, says, I've inspected 500 schools, said, you run an amazing school, Vic. If I lived in Harlow, I'd send my child to it. You know, that's a lovely thing to hear from somebody who knows schools inside out. However, when he follows it up with, the only way you're going to get an outstanding Vic is to kick more kids out and to not be as inclusive and, you know, let some of the challenges in, then I'm not going to do that. And if that's what Ofsted demands of me, then I'm not the head for any school that wants to do that.
You mentioned the word goalposts, and another senior school that went from special, notice to improve, then back to good.
Yeah.
Also made a reference off camera to goalposts.
Yeah.
Does that concern you regarding the Ofsted, and does that mean that therefore you have to play the Ofsted game?
I think what concerns me is that the executive powers of the Secretary of State are massive. In fact, I think if you looked into it, something like over 2,000 executive powers, Secretary of State, which is more than any other leader in the Western world, including like prime ministers, etc. And it worries me that education is a cycle of who happens to be the Secretary of State. It was interesting, the education editor on The Guardian tweeted last week he was about to meet with Tristram Hunt, who's the Shadow Secretary of Education. Was there any questions? And so I just tweeted him and said, would he agree to getting rid of the Secretary of State position and setting up a panel of experts who are going to guide strategically education for 10 years apolitically, i.e. is he going to be a turkey voting for Christmas? Because you've got to remove politics from education. It shouldn't be that this government has a view, or this Secretary of State has a view on the academic side of the world and what exams should look like and what people should be studying. If he goes, the next one will have a different view, and then the goalposts move again. I've got kids in year 8 who we're preparing for exams. We actually don't know what the exams look like at the moment. You know, they haven't been released yet. They haven't been told they're going to be 3 hours long. They're going to be this. Actually, tell me how to prepare them. So I think the danger is that it becomes too much of a plaything of politicians, and not actually what it is, which is the lifeblood of this country. You know, we are preparing the workforce of the future. So it worries me that things can change so much. I actually think the Ofsted framework's actually got it right. I haven't got an issue with Ofsted at all. I spend public money. I'm in charge of, with 3 schools we're involved in, sort of £10 million of public money that comes out of our salaries. So I should be held to account. But if the accountability is purely about exam results, then sit in your office, Ofsted, in September and give everybody their result. You haven't got to visit any schools if it's only about results. Just tell everybody that your results mean you're this, and then let's get on with the job, you know. But actually, to say that it's not just about exam results when it inherently is difficult for me.
I don't want to frame this